Hi, I'm Monique, and I'm here with Ken Lathrop from Coffee Crafters, and we're going to discuss how we got started with Coffee Crafters.
And the only way I'm going to take a break to do another video today is if I'm on a beach somewhere.
I can't disagree with that.
I guess we can start now.
It's great. So, Ken, where did the idea of Coffee Crafters equipment start?
It didn't start with me thinking about starting a business building coffee roasters, as some people know. I was looking for coffee roasting equipment for my coffee roasting business in Thailand, and went through sticker shock when I found out what coffee roasters cost. Because in Thailand it was worse because it was 100% import duty. So, you know, you spend $20,000 here, it was $40,000 of that wasn't going to happen. So I decided, being that I'm my father's son, if you want something, you just build it. So that's how the process started.
So, how did you find the market need for something that Coffee Crafters offers?
Well, once I found out there was no affordable equipment in the world, I figured that probably created a need. So in the beginning, truly, I just started to build a roaster for myself and for my Thai staff who didn't speak English, so it had to be really easy to operate. It started for a totally different reason than the market we found, but then as we got into the roaster project and started developing it, I discovered that there truly wasn't any equipment out there that was affordable. So that's kind of how the idea for the business got started.
Right, so that makes a lot of sense. And how is Coffee Crafters different?
One of the things we did different, because we kind of identified the market first, we started there. So instead of developing a piece of equipment and then telling people how great it was, we thought, what does this equipment have to do to be able to fill this niche? And the niches that we really identified was coffee's huge, right? I mean, It's the second most traded commodity on the planet. It's the most underutilized small business opportunity. You know, people haven't done it. So we designed equipment specifically for people to install it in their homes, in their garage, their outbuildings, their basement. And so we started by developing a list of things the equipment had to do to be able to meet that customer need.
Yeah, perfect. So I was going to ask, who is this for? Who would the Coffee Crafters roasters be for?
Well, most of our customers are home roasters who took their love for coffee, wanted to turn it into a business. And so most of our customers have little to no roasting experience when they get started. They just love coffee, they want to make extra income. And so that created some challenges in the design phase because a traditional coffee roaster wasn't going to work for most of our customers.
Yeah, and so you've explained before what the equipment needed to do when you first started with Coffee Crafters.
The equipment had to do 4 things to match this market. One and foremost, the equipment had to be affordable and it had to be productive. So with coffee roasters, if people have gone out and researched what coffee roasters cost, if it does so much production per hour, it's priced at this level. So anything that will do any amount of production, you've seen coffee equipment, the low end, without all the support equipment, 10 grand or more, and then it goes up from there. And you can't install it in your garage. I mean, you're talking afterburners, a lot of other things that go along with the equipment. So it had to be affordable for this market. The second thing is it had to be easy to install. It's really easy to design equipment that is complicated.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to design equipment that is simple. So a lot of thought went into look at your average customer. What do they know how to do? What do these things do? So we made it, that's why it installs like a clothes dryer. Anybody that understands a clothes dryer power and venting can install the coffee roaster.
Much more accessible too.
Yeah, and the third thing is it had to be easy to operate. The number one thing I think that's held back the micro roasting industry is that if you go on and research coffee roasting on the internet, it's so complicated by what people write that you would think you needed a PhD to do it, which is not true. I found out that wasn't true. At first I bought into that stuff and I thought, well, I'm not smart enough to do it. And then found out that it wasn't true. So we made it very simple to operate. And then the last thing, because we weren't going to have a big service department in the field, people had to be able to maintain the machine themselves. So as you know, the new equipment, the electronic components don't break. And the reason we did that, we searched out the most well-tested components that were made for other devices, and we integrated those into the roaster so that anybody can maintain it. You know, we have 1,000 roasters out there, and we can help everybody over the phone. We've never had someone over the phone that we couldn't help if they had an issue. So those were basically the 4 criteria. Had to be affordable, had to be easy to install, easy to operate, and very easy to maintain.
That's wonderful. There's not much out there that.
No, there was nobody that really took that criteria first and then designed the equipment around it.
Yeah.
You know, and if you looked at the other roasters out there, they start with a volume per hour, and then they go from there. And that's really where the rub came in. You can find tons of tabletop roasters, little ones, but they don't do enough volume to do a business. Because with our equipment, it's not about the customer having, you know, 8 hours a day to roast and say, well, I can roast 50 pounds in 8 hours. They have an hour before work in the morning, and then they deliver the coffee on the way to work, right? So it was about developing equipment where in their spare time, you know, it was productive enough that they could make a full-time income.
Right. So would you say that the equipment is good for commercial use, residential use, both?
We do both. So residential use was our primary startup. It's probably still 75% of our business, but we see a lot of people now installing our equipment in restaurants and coffee shops. And coffee roasting is kind of where microbrews were 25 or 30 years ago, is kind of getting started now, which is what makes it such a huge opportunity, you know, and it's also localized. It's like having a local bakery delivering better bread than getting it, you know, commercial stuff over the shelf. So.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, and a lot of other roasters have automation built into the roaster. Coffee Crafters equipment does not. It's all manual.
No, and we'll probably never go down that road. And one of the problems is, if you get 100 coffee roasters, you get 100 different theories on the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And so when the first prototypes I built had automated controls in it, you know, ramp and soak, you know, and the PID controllers. And then I went out and actually went on Roaster Walkabout and talked to about 50 roasters around the country, and nobody was using it. And I was kind of embarrassed because they laughed at me and go, yeah, you've been reading that stuff online, right? I go, yeah, I have been reading that stuff online. And they really made me understand how that happens, you know. They do production roasting, so the roasting is the easy part.
Yeah.
You know, you hear, we talk to people all the time, the roasting is the easy part. So making it complicated was not going to help this new consumer group.
Yeah.
They needed it to be easy.
Okay. And another question is, there's 2 different sizes for Coffee Crafters equipment.
Yeah, so we stuck with 2 sizes. The Artisan 3, I'll do 18 pounds an hour, and that's good for a lot of people when they first start their business, because the truth is, they probably not going to sell more than that when they first get started, and some people don't want to sell more than that.
Yeah.
You know, you can make $100 a day, you know, roasting for your hour in the morning in the little Artisan 3, and it takes up no room. We made it so it'll fit in the corner of your utility room. You know, we have one sitting over here, and it takes up about a 2-foot by 1-foot space with a little bit of room behind.
Yeah.
Even the Artisan 9, our larger machine, we have it on a cart over here because we wheel it around, because I wheel it out of the way when we're testing roasters. And it's on a 2-foot by 6-foot cart. And then we made the chaff collection system miniature, you know, so you could actually put your chaff collector in the house, you know, in your house, your garage, whatever. Most drum roasters will have a Venturi Cyclone, a big piece of equipment.
I've seen those. They're huge.
Yeah, they're huge. So we had to make the system so it was small enough to fit in home spaces, because one of the big financial benefits is to be able to operate out of your home or your garage or your basement without having to rent an extra space.
Right. And so now that Coffee Crafters has perfected what equipment we do have, what's next on the board for new development?
New development, there's 2 things. Sound suppression for the blowers, because the blowers are noisy. I mean, we have people build them in their cabinets and do things, but we'd like to make a unit available that already has sound suppression built into it. And the second thing for our group, because we know who they are, they need resources. So they need resources about starting their business. So mid-September, we'll be launching startroasting.com, and that website is dedicated primarily to teach people how to start their business. Full video library on how to do things like package coffee, you know, how to start doing your marketing plan, you know, anything you'd want to know about coffee, even teaching them simple things like coffee terminology, which is not simple when you first get involved. What does this mean, you know? So it'll be a full inventory of resources, things they can download for labels for their bags, educational things they can teach their customers about fresh coffee. So those are kind of the two things on the board for this year.
That's exciting. So that's what we have for Coffee Crafters, and make sure you look for startroasting.com coming out soon.
All right, Anique, that's enough of this interviewing thing. So
Oh, okay.
back to the salt mine, and we'll get back to work. Thanks.
Thanks for watching.